Hello and welcome to Good Game Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Barjo.
And I'm Hex.
And I am Darren, the data analyzing robot for the ruthless extermination of noobs.
And for the ruthless extermination of Pokemon. We've been playing PokePark 2 this week, and Darren, you showed my Oshawott no mercy with your Pikachu.
Well, what do you mean? It was Hex's Snivy that trounced us both.
Well, I promise we'll play more co-op next time. We'll also be lightsabering our way through hordes of space baddies in Star Wars Kinect.
Please, this is a very important assignment. I honestly couldn't care less if you... Oh, hello.
Seeing R2-D2 again brought back all sorts of bad memories.
Oh, Darren, I thought you and R2-D2 sorted out your droid differences ages ago.
No, affirmative, but he's such a noob for a robot.
Oh, cheer up, Darren. Haven't you got some fresh data to dump on us this week?
Oh, affirmative. Ah, I've got a big one saved up for later in the show.
Oh, excellent. Well, first we should get to the PokePark.
Our favourite catchable creatures are back in PokePark 2 Wonders Beyond. Gotta catch them all.
Hex, there's no catching in this game. Got to befriend them all.
It doesn't have quite the same ring to it, does it?
No. Pokemon are being led to Wish Park, where they're being hypnotised. So it's up to Pikachu and his new friends Snivy, Oshawott and Tepig to rescue them.
You need friendship power. Yes, that's actually what it's called. In order to open up the various portals to Wish Park, where you take down the evil Pokemon who are leading your friends astray.
Sure.
What?
Yeah, the story is a bit ridiculous. I mean, who uses cake and dancing as tools for hypnotism? But sadly, the gameplay doesn't fare too well either.
Affirmative. In order to befriend the other Pokemon, you have to complete various quests, like chasing them, battling, or carrying them somewhere.
Yes, I'm not a fan of escort missions in general, and they're pretty lame here. Not only is there no obstacles or challenge, you have to physically carry the Pokemon, which makes you move so slowly.
Oh, and they complain the whole way. I mean, hello, I'm the one doing you a favour here. But what did you think of the controls?
Well, there's no nunchuck support, which is a bit weird for a 3D action game, so I struggled with it a fair bit. Also, there's invisible walls everywhere, which doesn't help.
Yeah, and I didn't like being forced to use the D-pad. That was a bit annoying. And also the battles were really simple. They mostly involve waiting for your opponent to attack, and while they're cooling down, you lay your beat down on them.
But it just doesn't make sense for these normal type attacks to be so effective against a massive rock type Pokemon like Rhyperior.
Don't get me started on the inconsistencies.
Go on then.
Well, for a start, Pokemon shouldn't be roaming around this world with buildings and windmills and no humans. It just feels weird. And they shouldn't be sitting behind a counter or organising battle tournaments. That's what humans do.
And berries are used as currency.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah, right? Yep, yeah. In other Pokemon games, they're used as items to recover health or heal status ailments. It just does not compute.
It doesn't compute, Darren. And I know all of this was in the first game, but I can still be upset about it.
All right, calm down. I mean, there's still some upsides too. This game is packed full of cute, from the loading screens to the way the Pokemon move. I mean, how cute is that little Oshawott waddle?
Yeah, it is great seeing these characters in 3D, especially the new ones from Pokemon Black and White. And you do get a sense of scale with this game that you don't quite get on the handhelds.
PokePark 2 also adds some multiplayer mini-games that you can unlock in the single-player game. There's a whack-a-mole style game and even a dancing game, but they're far too simple and have almost nothing to do with Pokemon at all.
Yeah, and there's no difficulty slider or even different songs for the dancing game. I mean, it's quite a letdown.
And sadly, that's how I feel about most of this game. It had potential to have a good collection of Pokemon mini-games, but just the gameplay wasn't there for it.
To be fair, it's not a broken game, it just doesn't feel substantial to begin with. It's definitely aimed at younger gamers, but I don't ever want to play Chase in a video game again, so I'm giving it 5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I'm giving it 4.5. Darren, if you and I were inside a Pokemon game, what battle technique would you use against me to expose my weakness?
Oh, I think I'd use a cake-type attack. Judging from your equatorial bulge, I suspect that would be super effective.
I do really like cake.
He does, he really likes cake. That was a good one.
Affirmative.
Where would you fire the cake from?
I think I project it from my cake cannon.
You have a cake cannon?
Yeah, my chest screen retracts, and I've got a multi-barrel cupcake launcher.
How come we've never seen that? It was my birthday a few weeks ago. That would have come in really handy.
Well, I like to save it for special occasions.
Did you say you have a cake cannon? have a cake cannon?
Do the news, Barjo.
Got a 3-barrel for cupcakes.
Oh. Showing a cupcake cannon? Right, well, what? Oh. Thanks, Darren. Not as good as I thought they would be, but still, thank you, Darren. Right, Barjo here at the Spawn Point News Desk with gaming news to tickle your A South Korean politician has dressed up as an angry bird in an effort to win votes. John Hyung created the video Hongy Bird to show that he would launch himself at important social issues if he is re-elected. Let's hope no one thought he was just a bit of a bird brain. There's more to come from Angry Birds 2, with the game's publisher Rovio confirming that a 52-episode animated series is on the way. Darren, not kidding around. The co-creator of Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog. Darren! Calm down, Barjo, calm down. The co-creator of Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog, Hirokazu Yasushiro, has joined Nintendo, one of Sega's main rival in the world of video games. The experienced games director has taken on the job at one of Nintendo's smaller American studios, NST, a place known for producing DS games and DSiWare, but it's not known what Nintendo project he will be working on. It's on my hands. Researchers in Scotland have discovered that wearing special gaming goggles that force your eyes to focus independently on an image can cure the condition known as amblyopia or lazy eye, one of the most common causes of vision problems in children. Patients who wear the goggles and play a Tetris-like game for an hour a day saw a noticeable improvement, to their condition in 10 days or less. Forcing the brain to use the lazy eye in this way can apparently regenerate dormant cells.
Now rapid fire, Darren.
No! Stop it! I don't like cake this much! No!
Oh, nice shot, Darren. It's gonna take him ages to get cleaned up from that. Now, why don't you do your data dump?
Oh, affirmative. Welcome to Darren's Data Dump, the segment where I dump valuable gaming info directly into your brains. This week, we look at 3 of the most misunderstood letters in gaming. DLC. DLC is short for downloadable content. In the olden days, games could only be bought in shops and were like insects trapped in amber. They could never evolve. The internet now lets developers sell extra content after a game is launched. New characters, new levels, new goodies to keep fans happy. Some companies get a little cheeky and sell DLC the very day a game is released. It's called Day 1 DLC. Some companies get very cheeky and include secret DLC on the game disc itself. Then they only let you play it after you've paid extra to unlock it. Outrageous! Whether it offers you more or just costs you more, DLC is here to stay. Data dump complete.
How did you find that cake, Barjo?
No one should eat that much cake, and I love cake.
Well, don't sit down, you're getting cake on the chair, and we've got to go do our Squid Game.
Barjo, you've still got some frosting in your hair.
Check out my awesome glove hacks. Did you know back in the day, to challenge people to a duel, they would go like this to people, and that would challenge them to a duel by using their glove.
You don't do it you throw it on the ground. It's called throwing down the gauntlet.
Gauntlet. That's how it would work. Well, we should rip into some of these questions, though. We can talk about that later, and we will.
All right, well, how about we go with this one from Da Bomb in My Brother's a Noob, Queensland.
In SSX, which level can you get the glow suit? And are there any games which are FPS, but only M or PG? P.S. You rock, Barjo, and you too, Hex. Well, Da Bomb, there isn't any specific level that allows you to get the glow suits. They're simply available for you to buy. Although the gear you can purchase is randomly selected every time you access the shop, so it might take a little while before you see one available.
But you can just keep going in and out of the gear purchase menu until you see one on offer.
As for FPS games, well, there really aren't any PG or G ones worth mentioning, so you're gonna have to wait till you're a bit older. But there are so many great PG and G games out there anyway, it shouldn't be too hard to wait just a little bit longer.
Indeed. Let's move on to this one now from PS3 Garbinator in Canto, Victoria. Hey Good Game SP, just wondering, do you know any good games for the PS3 that are flight simulators? If you don't answer, I will become a noob. Not.
Well, Garbinator, there aren't any proper flight simulators on the PS3 which will let you practice your 747 takeoff and landing procedure, but there are plenty of great flight games. I'd say the most realistic is the recently released World War II game Birds of Steel. It's fairly forgiving on lower difficulties, but if you turn it up to simulation, then it's a real fight to keep those old planes in the air.
For something a bit more arcadey and fast-paced, I'd recommend either of the Tom Clancy Hawks games. There's lots of modern jets and exciting dogfighting in those.
The latest Ace Combat Assault Horizon is good fun too. It's definitely not a simulation, but it's a great mix of jets and choppers and bombers, and the dogfighting is pretty intense.
Well, hopefully some of those tickle your fancy, but let's move right along to this one now from Declan the Great, in Darren's Interior Systems case, which is in Queensland apparently.
He sounds great.
Declan the Great?
Yeah. Don't know why. Hey GGSP, I love your show. Really love it. So my question is, I recently got my Xbox 360, awesome, ha ha ha, but have no games. But I heard you can install games to the hard drive. So if I con a friend to lend me a game and I install it to my hard drive, will he still have the game on his disc or not? Declan the Great. PS, thanks, if you answer. PPS, Hex, you're awesome. PPPS, Barjo, you suck at high-fiving and should be fired. PPPPS, Darren, people criticizes you so much, but you're still a mega noob.
Sorry to say, Declan, but as cunning as your plan to borrow your friend's games is, it just won't work. Because even after you've installed a game to your hard drive, you still need the disc to play it. So the game's still on there, but it needs to be in your console, even if you've installed it to the hard drive. It simply won't run without the game's disc.
Installing games only does two things, really. First, it means the game loads from the hard drive rather than the disc. So the disc doesn't spin while you play, making your Xbox nice and quiet.
And secondly, loading from a hard drive is often much faster than from a disc, so you can improve your load times and make your games run a bit smoother. But let's move on to this one now from Cool Creeper in Good Game House, New South Wales. Hi Good Game SP, I just have a little question. How do you go to the moon in the latest version of KSP?
Well, Cool Creeper, that's actually not a little question at all, because just like in real life, getting to the moon, or MUN as it's called in Kerbal Space Program, is no small feat. In fact, Hex, I'm a bit ashamed to admit it, but I think we might need Darren's help on this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess you're right. It's some pretty tricky rocket science stuff we've got to figure out here, so...
Yeah, I'll give it a call. I'll call it. What's Darren's number again?
Oh, it's,
6 for Alpha Mega... Oh, no, it's 2.
Yeah.
It's ringing.
Hello?
Hey, Darren, it's Barjo.
Hello?
It's Barjo from Good Game.
Yes, I know.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
Okay, I've got this question for you. Now, it's a bit complicated, so I think I need your help.
I'm on my way.
Wait, Darren, you can just email...
What's happening?
He's on his way.
No, Barjo, why didn't you just get him to
I
tell me
tried.
on the phone?
You know what he's like. He's
Or
impossible
send
to
you an
deal with.
email or something.
You don't think I tried? I tried.
Noobs detected! Make way for Darren!
Come on.
Excuse me, just move over a bit. Okay, move, Barjo, please. Could you move over a bit?
Can't move over.
That's
Really?
good, but just a little further. No, I've got this.
Ah,
no,
my foot!
Darren, I don't even found the table.
You're my other foot!
We can just get a new one.
I've only got 2 feet.
No, I meant the laptop. Your feet are expendable.
Darren, I can't move over anymore.
Can we do this?
Affirmative! Now, Barjo, set up your laptop.
Oh, yeah. It just take me a second because someone made a mess of the desk.
Here, you've got to get the...
I've got it.
Okay, this task is quite simple, really. It's just a matter of entering into an orbit around the Earth parallel to the MUN, then initiating a precise transfer burn to alter your orbit to cross the path of the MUNs.
Okay, well, maybe that sounds simple to you, Darren, but I have no idea how to do any of that. How do you even design the rocket?
Okay, it's really quite simple, Barjo. Do try to keep up. Once your rocket reaches approximately 500 meters per second, slowly turn your rocket to face the horizon at 270 degrees. Then continue to burn until you've reached a speed of 200,300 meters per second, and cut the engines. This will put you into a stable orbit around the Earth.
Okay, so I'm orbiting. Now what?
Now, wait until you see the MUN setting behind the Earth, then burn your engines until the apoapsis of your orbit reaches 11.4 million meters. You are now on your way to the MUN.
Oh, well, Darren, that actually wasn't hard at all. Thanks, I think I've got it from here.
But Barjo, a MUN landing is a very difficult procedure. Are you sure you wouldn't like some assistance?
Darren, I think you'll find I'm a pretty awesome gamer, and it's going really well, so I can take it from here. Thank you very much.
But Barjo, your rocket shouldn't be...
Don't say anything, Darren.
Don't say what?
Don't say I told you so, because I know you want to say I told you so.
Negative. I was just going to advise you that your chances of a successful landing would increase significantly with the rocket facing the right way up.
Right, well, thanks for that, Darren. I think maybe if you just,
All right, we're
you know,
done?
head back to the studio.
Okay, I'll head back to the
we'll
studio.
See you there,
I'll
we can all
defrag
just
something.
move.
It's just a complicated way of
Move
saying I
back
told
to
you so,
our
really.
proper places,
I'll
maybe.
just head off.
Where we belong.
Okay.
And robots can go back to
good
where
luck.
they belong.
Good luck with your
Not at
space.
the Ask Good Game
adventures.
desk. All right. Let's help. Let's help Nicholas from Toowoomba, who has a question for us.
That did not go as planned.
Completely unprecedented.
Is the Jack and Daxter games going to be the PS Vita? Please, it is, because I love Jack and Daxter, fave game of all time. P.S. Harry Potter 7 Part 2 was the best game ever, so you're wrong. Well, Nicholas, we haven't heard much about a Vita version of the Jack and Daxter collection, but we're pretty sure it's happening because there are screenshots of a PS Vita version out there.
Yeah, but as you say, Badge, there's been no official announcement, but hopefully we'll hear some more information about it soon.
Yes, but for now you can get your hands on some old PSP Jack and Daxter games for your Vita. There's Jack and Daxter The Lost Frontier, and there's also Daxter's very own game simply called Daxter. They're a few years old now, but they're both excellent games, and you can download them straight to your Vita.
And also, I think we'll have to agree to disagree on the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 issue, because while you are entitled to your opinion, I personally think it was a bit of a rubbish game.
I did not enjoy it, but I do not mind that you enjoyed it.
The final boss battle was a bit stupid. But next up, we have this one from Jamie, who is 6 years old, and he's from Adelaide, South Australia. Minecraft. When I dig mines, I always fall into lava pits. How do I do this with success?
Well, I'm not sure there's many successful ways to fall into lava, Jamie.
Badge, I think he meant how can he successfully mine and avoid falling into lava pits?
Ah, well, that's easy. Just follow the golden rule of Minecrafting. Avoid digging straight down or up, and always dig at an angle. If you dig straight down, then you'll eventually fall into a hole or a pit of lava, and if you dig straight up, then you might end up with a blob of lava on your face, and that is unpleasant. And that's all the questions I think we have time to answer this week.
That's correct. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer, then send them in here. For now, let's get back to the studio.
All right.
Let's push Darren out of the way, see how he likes it.
Yeah, let's see how he likes it.
Let's, like,
No,
push him in.
he got
Be
less
like-
one.
We're getting through them all.
Go through the list. Yeah, good question. Right, well, I'd venture that it's every human's and every robot's dream to one day wield a lightsaber in their hands. Kinect Star Wars tries to make that dream come true.
So, ready to storm the gates of hell?
This is a pretty big game for the Kinect, and there's lots to do. First up, the campaign. After a quick tutorial with your trainer and a chat with a Yoda impersonator,
Say the same for you. We once did, long ago.
you're thrust into the action. And the best part is a friend can jump in at any time to help you out in split screen.
Yes, you'll be infiltrating bases,
I agree.
slicing through robots, racing on speeder bikes, and jumping about the place with a lightsaber in hand. Overall, the campaign is quite varied, but it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some parts of it are really, really fun, and other parts are really, really frustrating and a bit rough. Darren, I noticed especially you struggled with the platforming side of things.
Affirmative, Pardew. No, the Kinect must be faulty. I'm doing everything right. I always do everything right. But to move your Jedi around, you'll need to step forward to dash ahead, lean right or left to sidestep, duck objects, and jump over gaps. The Kinect and I did not see eye to eye on many of these things. No, it's the game. The game is buggy. The game is faulty. Because, like, that was right, but it didn't see it, Mr. Kinect. Mr. Smarty.
Well, in fairness, Darren, the Kinect isn't really set up to recognise your mobility base plate. I found dashing forward to attack enemies worked fine, but the other situations that required my character to move always felt a bit clunky. You know, that stop-start nature of the action just means you can't really get a good rhythm going.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It particularly didn't recognise when I wanted to move left or right, and I'd just be going, and it would just, nothing would happen.
Moving a character around a virtual environment without a movement stick to control them is a challenge common to Kinect games and one which is yet to be fully overcome.
But in fairness, Darren, it is early days for the Kinect, and I think with each iteration of a new game, they are getting better at it. Everything's getting more responsive.
Oh yes, they're improving at about same speed that glaciers flow.
Harsh, Darren. Well, I think where the action works best in this game is when you're just moving through a whole bunch of weak goons and carving them up.
And occasionally you'll come across enemies that'll require you to leap over them or sidestep or break through their defences. This is done by stepping to the left or right or jumping in front of the Kinect, but the tutorial doesn't really do a good job of teaching you how to fight these enemies, so you kind of have to work it out on your own.
You can also deflect lasers by waving your arm left and right, but you'll need to do this when you're getting overwhelmed. You don't have to worry too much because no one's a very good shot in the Star Wars universe.
On occasion, you'll come across a more intense duel with a really tough enemy.
Keep them off me. You can do this. Remember your training.
During these sections, you'll need to mimic where the enemy is attacking you with your arm to block, and after a few successful blocks, it's your turn to attack, and you just wail on the enemy. This all sounds really cool, but it's actually a bit broken and not much fun. And every now and then it throws you into this weird cross-saber bit where you have to match a pulsating ball of light on your lightsaber to stepping forward at the right time, and you can never quite get it, and eventually you just get it by accident and then move on.
I hated those dueling sections, Budge. They were so tedious and I never got them right. But I loved the speeder bike sections. They were my favourite. Put your arms out to dash forwards, and occasionally you'll need to brake to attack enemies or dodge incoming missiles. And I loved it when you went into that boost view. You know, it looked like it was straight out of the film.
I especially like those jungle sections. They just look so good. You could also do a selection of pod races. In these races, you can use tactics such as shields and ramming, but really it's about slowing down for the corners and getting to the top of the pack.
This is usually where you see rookies kissing the canyon. Gotta slow down, racers. This is the place to do it.
The campaign also features space battles, pew pew pew, but I found these to be a mixture of excitement and frustration. The aiming reticle is just so sensitive.
Yeah, and it never recognised when I wanted to throw a mine, and that hologram would just be there taunting me, going, oh, wait a second, I'm doing it! How much fun was that Rancor section?
Oh yeah, we had some fun with that, didn't we? Stomping around.
That's enough, Darren. And after we played this game for a while, working our way through, we suddenly were shocked to stumble across this. What's that about?
Yeah, I'm with you there, Barjo. It's a bit out of place to have a dancing minigame in the middle of Star Wars. There isn't a great selection of songs even, and most of the dance moves are repeated. And what's worse is all the lyrics have been replaced with Star Wars lyrics. It felt a bit tacky.
Yeah, I also thought Han Solo looked like a creepy marionette puppet, like he was on strings.
For a Kinect game, this is actually quite big and diverse. My biggest problem with the action is that it doesn't telegraph enough. That means that the game doesn't give you enough of an indicator, a warning, enough time to react to something coming towards you. So trying to force something out of the way or counter a move becomes more about luck than anything to do with skill.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Darren. I mean, a lot of this does feel quite rushed and a bit of a mess.
Some websites are reporting that this game was made by 10 different development teams, which would explain why it feels so messy. Too many cooks spoil the broth.
Yeah, it's almost like they've tried to cram too many different elements in there, whereas if they tried to focus on just a few of them, it would have been a better game. But, you know, even with the problems, I did have a pretty good time. They obviously haven't taken the Star Wars universe too seriously, and, I had some fun, so I'm giving it 6 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Well, I like this more than most other Kinect games simply because it's Star Wars, but that also means I think they should have done a better job because it's Star Wars, and it should always be taken seriously, so I'm giving it 5.5.
What is it, Darren?
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. I fear something terrible's happened.
Oh no, what happened, Darren?
I think we've come to the end of the show.
Darren, we knew that already. Don't frighten us like that.
Yeah, it's still sad though, but we shall return next week with more games.
Yes, and in fact, a new Ridge Racer game called Unbounded.
And we'll really put our skills to the test with a sequel to Trials HD, Trials Evolution.
You might need my stunt driving expertise for that. Charging my turbo. Here in my car, I feel safest of all.
Don't call us, Darren, we'll call you. See you next time, Bajo out.
Hex out.
Darren out.
I feel like some cake.
I could cook you up another batch of cupcakes if you like.
Really?
Affirmative.
Oh, that'd be great.
Cooking my cupcakes! Done. Now, Bajo, open up. I'll just calibrate my launcher. Charging my cupcake cannon! No, wait, it needs a bit longer. Keep your mouth open, though. 10 minutes.
Aim for his eye.
I'll do it.